Hi everyone, it's afternoon here. I hope you are having a happy day wherever you are in the world. Now today I want to talk to you a little bit about the strengths that some of our children have, those children who struggle with the academic requirements at school. They struggle with textbooks, they struggle with reading lots of text information, their textbooks. They may struggle with sitting in class and listening for long periods of time. These are the kids who are actively on the go quite often, and their brains are actively on the go. So today I want to cover some of the strengths that those children might have, and these are some of the strengths that can then be used in the future to get through life incredibly successfully, because these are children who find school difficult, but if we can get them through the system confident and feeling great about themselves, so all about their self-esteem, they invariably shine when we get them out the other side, and they actually are not being judged anymore by a system that's all about reading and writing and quite often spelling. So let me talk to you today about some of those strengths. The first one is physical strengths. There are a lot of children who struggle with school who go on and do amazing things in the physical sense. So let me talk about what some of those things could be. And I'm going to go back to my trusty book, Helping Children with Dyslexia, because I went to a lot of surveys and a lot of parents and a lot of children to actually collate this list. So this is the first one. They may be equally capable on the right and left side of their body. In other words, they don't have a strong dominating side. They're not strongly right-handed. They might be strongly left-handed and right-handed and ambidextrous. In other words, they can actually turn either way and perhaps dribble a basketball down a court or dribble a soccer ball down a court. So incredibly capable on both sides. They may have very high energy levels. These might be the kids who run long distances, who play sport without stopping, who have incredible fitness and energy levels. We're talking about the children who they may become incredible sports people because of all of the different skills that they have. They may have amazing reflexes and be able to respond incredibly quickly to a stimulus or a whistle or a signal that they need to move or change direction. They can often have very good hearing skills, and this can be amazingly great to have if you are in an area where listening and reacting to cues, and in other words, oral cues or sound cues is really important. They may be amazing singers, mimics or musicians. A lot of really amazing comedians are actually people who struggled at school, but they are so quick-witted and so fast. They may be incredible movers, like in terms of dancing, gymnastics, ice skating, even downhill skiing or water skiing or wake skating, something I was talking to my daughter about this morning, wake skating behind a boat, incredibly capable in terms of body awareness. They might have excellent dexterity, and dexterity I mean ability to use their fingers and even their toes at incredible speeds. Think of things like playing a trumpet or a clarinet or a saxophone or piano. Those type of physical skills can be amazing. Keyboarding, computing, those types of things can be, I've seen people who've struggled at school, but they are so fast on a keyboard, it's unbelievable. And they can often be really, really good at endurance. So there's some skills for you already. Now, the other thing that I wanted to let you know is that they can also have incredible personality strengths. So think of people like Richard Branson, who didn't do so well at school, but he started a music magazine, he started an airline, and it was all about his ability to communicate and to network and to get his ideas across, because he is still an amazing enigmatic personality. So these are people who are excellent communicators. Think of people like or the movie directors and things like that who struggled with dyslexia, but they've gone on and done amazing things. They can be fantastic organisers and they can officially organise people and tasks. They can be fantastic delegators. So think of things like that. These are real personality strengths. They can be really great orators, in other words, speech givers. They can speak. I remember when I spoke to Anna Burke, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and she actually became the Speaker of the House for a while. She's an amazing orator. But if you ask her about her school experience, she'll say it was really, really challenging. They can recite, they can perform, that's where the acting comes from. They can be really quick-witted and funny with words, hence the comedic side. And they can quite often effectively communicate and explain things to others. And as I said before, delegation is a really key thing that they are so good at. Here's some more strengths. We're going to go on to mental strengths now. That these kids and children and adults can quite often have incredibly high pain tolerance. In other words, they can withstand a lot of pain. Think of endurance athletes. Think of people who are perhaps in the army who are doing incredibly difficult practice exercises where they've got to be out in the wilderness for extended periods of time. These are people who do not give up. Kids like ours don't give up, because giving up for many of them is not an option. And there are plenty of amazing examples of people who didn't do so well at school, but they didn't give up. And this is the mental strength that they have. They have perseverance. They don't want to give up, and they continue working hard. Everyone else has gone home. This person is still there. This individual is still there working incredibly hard. They can overcome obstacles. They can possess quite often amazing abilities to memorize mechanical workings, like in motorbikes and cars and automobiles and all those types of things. There is no, it's so obvious why so many of the people who work at NASA actually have dyslexia, because their visual skills are incredible, and that comes from that mental acuity of being able to visualize things. I know I spoke to a builder once and he said to me, I can see a whole house before I've actually built it, in terms of where the light sits and the building's going to be. So we're talking about people who have amazing mental skills way beyond that of perhaps the average person. They can often be found in the kitchen concocting amazing dishes because they're incredibly good cooks. Think of Jamie Oliver. Think of the child who is amazing at oral memory, long-term oral memory. They can hear something and then they can repeat it back. I know my son used to be so good at this when he was at school, because if they had to recite a piece of poetry or maybe something that they had to do for school, all the children would ask him because he would remember it orally. And I'm sure that's because I used to read him stories when he was little, and because he struggled to read them, he learnt to memorize them so we could read them together. But he was reading from memory. So they might be great at math, physics, other sciences, really good mathematicians, as statisticians. They can have incredibly good imaginations, and they can be story writers, script writers, television writers, those type of things. They can have an incredibly ordered mind, which means that they are great at taking in information and reorganizing it and then putting it into new formats for others to understand. And that is a real mental strength. Let's keep going now. Here are some more strengths. Now, I've already touched a little bit on visual strengths, but I want to talk a little bit more about what I actually mean. So we're talking about people who can visualize in 3 dimensions. Now, I know that sounds a bit weird, but I'm talking about being able to see something from 3 directions at the same time. So they've basically got a 360-degree view of something before it's even created, because it's actually in their mind. These are big picture thinkers. So they can look at multiple aspects. They can create excellent inventions. They're excellent designers. They're excellent engineers. They're excellent architects, things like that. So look for these type of strengths in your children. They might end up being the overall creators of a new invention, something that we haven't even seen yet or heard of yet, something that's new, going to be new to come onto the market. They can see incredible detail in the world around them quite often. Great artists, photographers, performing artists. So that sort of visual strength to see things. Often incredibly empathetic and insightful as to how other people are feeling, particularly animals and others who are a bit hard done by. And they can be great at sports where hand-eye coordination, foot-eye coordination is really important. Table tennis, badminton, tennis. I know I'm being very broad here, but these are some things that people with specific learning difficulties and dyslexia often excel at. So I really, really want you to be aware of those types of things. And you can imagine how all of those things together, if a child with those type of skills, or even some of those skills, or one of those skills, has a good business mind, in other words, they understand business management, they understand accounting, they understand the big picture needs, they're able to delegate, they can make the most incredibly successful business people. And there is no reason why your child may not fall into that category as well. And on the other hand, you also need to think about the fact that about 50% of all entrepreneurs and multimillionaires out there in the world, men and women, are invariably dyslexic or really, really struggled at school, and they just never gave up. So keep all of those incredible strengths in your mind as you nurture and advocate on behalf of your child. Help them to find their strengths. And remember, sometimes we do need to push our children out of their comfort zone to actually find out what their strengths are. Knowing how hard to push is the tricky thing, because we don't want to create too much stress for them, but we want to create just enough that we're constantly pushing them out of their comfort zone, making them try new things and experience new things. So I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you've learned lots about potential strengths for your children. I do have a free set of posters, one of which I think is up behind me there, and it talks about potential careers for kids who struggled at school, things that they should look at. So if you want to know more about that poster, just put a yes please in the comments below this post, and I will make sure that we post a link to those free posters so that you can get a free poster which talks about strengths that your child could have and what they can do with those strengths moving forward. Particularly if you've got a teenager and you've kind of hit this brick wall and you're like, I'm not sure what we're going to do next. They're not sure what they're going to do. School's appearing really hard. Sometimes when a child's got a focus, it gives them momentum to move forward in the direction they're destined to go. So have a super day, everybody, and I hope to see you tomorrow on another Facebook Live. Bye for now.